Today I want to talk to you about a game that I and many people have become recently obsessed with called Pokopia, or as I like to call it, Wokopia. Here's the deal. We knew from the trailers that they use they them pronouns for some of the Pokemon in here. And I noticed that when they showed off DJ Rotom, a genderless Pokemon, that they used its pronouns. Interesting. I got into the game. And they didn't just use they them pronouns for some Pokemon. They use they them pronouns for every Pokemon that isn't genderless. And you could just be like, well, it's easier than calling every Pokemon it all the time, because some Pokemon you can tell it's got gender differences coded in some of the games, and you sometimes come up with like gendered nicknames for them and stuff like that. It's a thing. Well, here's the deal. There are Pokemon with obvious gender differences. Pikachu has the hardtail, still called they them. Okay, well, am I overthinking this? Yes, I'm overthinking this, but it's woke in a fun way. I'm joking about the whole like woke thing. Woke has sort of become a nothing word. It's too funny to say Wokopia. Wokopia is fun about how they do these weird pronouns, and I think it goes deep. Okay, I think somebody thought about this clearly, because the inclusion of its pronouns for DJ Rotom versus using they them for all the Pokemon who can be male and female, I think tells us a little bit something about the complex psychosocial dynamic construct that is gender in society. Sex, male, female. Pokemon have them. Some Pokemon are a floating magnet. Magnemite. Its pronouns probably, I don't know, I haven't got that far in the game yet, but I would guess so. And in the game, so far, all the Pokemon who have male and female sex are called they, them when personal pronouns are used. So, here's my rant about why Wokopia is brilliant with that. I think the way Pokopia does personal pronouns in a series that has been known to have like classifications for its creatures like male and female and also genderless is brilliant, because I think that when we're thinking about gender as a social construct, we're talking about the made up language around it and how it interacts with society on a more complex way than just male and female does. Okay, so gender is a very complex thing that like develops in the brain. It is in some ways separate from sex but very directly related to it. And I think that Pokemon don't have the same concept of gender as humans do, because our concept of gender was developed around and in response to our lived experiences as humans in a society. Pokemon are very human adjacent. They've lived in society with humans, but they are not humans. Okay, so according to the lore, Pokemon and human were once indistinguishable from one another or something like that. I'm not here to give you the lore. I'm here to rant about pronouns. Pokemon are probably fully aware of, like sex differences, like male and female, the sexual dimorphism that is apparent. Gender differences is just sexual dimorphism, with the early 2000s wording where sex and gender were the same word back then. The way that the Pokemon probably understand that is probably only relevant in terms of mating. Outside of that, likely the way Pokemon communicate with each other within their own relations and not directly connecting with the human concept of gender is that they probably just don't give a shit about gender. Like, they don't need to, Pokemon speak their own Pokemon language where they just say like their Pokemon sounds at each other and they can understand each other for some reason. They don't actually speak English, but if you translate the way that they're regarding each other into English, they probably just have a singular way to say like that person, and it's not gendered. So the best way we can show that in our language, or at least in English, I don't know how they did it, I haven't played it in the other languages. How many languages has this got? At least in English, the best approximation for saying we don't really have gendered pronouns. We just say that Pokemon over there. The short way is just to say they, them. From the point of view of understanding that gender is a social construct, we as humans have developed gendered language, not just in how language gets the words get conjugated, but also in the way that we use language to refer to a further indication of what someone's life experience is or what they look like based on that gendered language. And Pokemon go even farther, and they're like, we don't really give a shit about that. If a Pokemon doesn't have a gender at all, like it's not male or female, we'll say it is. But then when referring to a Pokemon, you don't know its gender because it doesn't like have a concept of that. So like you could say she for female or he for male, but within the context of Pokemon just talking to each other, I think they just don't give a shit about that outside of the context of mating. And that, my friends, get back here. That, my friends, is why Pokopia is cool. For a pronoun nerd. I don't know how many of us are out there.